What's up guys, this is Yacineygo and today we're reviewing 77 cards, all of them, the best going second cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm not trying to be racist today, I'm covering all the good cards, the bad cards, the mid cards, the broken cards, everything, you name it, you got it. But anyways, before we go any further, we already know the drill, smash the like, subscribe button, etc, blah blah blah. And also a huge massive shout out to my Crystron spreadsheet and Blue Eye spreadsheet, as well as my website. And just in case you've never heard about them, here is the promo. So I am proud to announce that after all these years, I have finally created my own website dedicated to selling all kinds of products and services, including spreadsheets and coaching sessions, and I do plan on adding some merch in the near future. Most importantly though, the long-awaited Blue Eye spreadsheet is finally here, and for only $25 US, you can become the next Dragon Master. This time though, the spreadsheet comes with a whopping 75 combos, including uninterrupted lines and through handshots including Nibiru, Bestials, Drool, Furos, Veiler, etc. The combos also cover pretty much every build that you can think of, so regardless of the direction that you choose to go for, there is something for you. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but I have managed to cook up some combos that can make 12 disruptions if they go through, and still put 10 disruptions through Nibiru. I also cover my own personal deck list alongside the explanation behind each and every single card and ratio that I play, so that you can understand the deck even if you've never played it before. There are tons of other benefits associated behind the spreadsheet, including access to a Discord community where I plan on hosting classrooms to help everyone master the deck efficiently. So if you're interested in the spreadsheet, you can buy it directly on my website using a credit card or PayPal. The link will be at the very top of the description box below. Anyways, with that said, let's get on with the video. Alright, absolutely beautiful. Anyways, let's get right into it. We got 77 cards, so this was going to be a long one. And also make sure that you watch until the end, don't be a bitch. Yeah, the first one is Spellbound. It's kind of a meh card. Not much to say. Change of Heart is worth exploring, but in a format where Detonator can just self-destruct, this card usually does not end up being like super good, but it's kind of good into half board. So if your deck plays so many hand traps that you can make your opponent end on like just one single boss monster that you can just deal with Change of Heart, it's not too bad. Solo Release is really good against Malice, Kek W, LMAO. I love Justice Cycle Reader is like okay, but it's not really worth playing. Honestly, it's kind of copium if anything. Like, yeah, sure, you can play with like Kashtira monsters instead of Bestial, so it doesn't conflict. But yeah, stop the cap. Anyways, Sphere Mode, yeah, this one's not great. Cosmic Cyclone is like worth exploring because honestly, as a going first card, it's not too bad. But as a going second card, yeah, it's kind of cheeks actually. Never mind, I'm gonna downgrade it all the way down here. But it's not bad against Fire King actually. And if Fire King gains in popularity, we never know. Imperm is a must play because Imperm, no shit. This is, Regeki, it's not bad. It's not actually decent against Blue Eyes. And sometimes their end board actually just scoops the one Regeki. I mean, it depends on how they play it out. It doesn't always, yeah, there's a way they can just not lose to Regeki at all, but it's low-key not too bad. Yeah, I'm not super against it. Swords of Concealing Light is cheeks because Razor Detonator can just destroy it, so this card is bad. Book of Moon is also meh. It's not really worth exploring as a going second card, but it is a good going first card. So I would probably just do this, just put it here in like the going first cards, but it shouldn't be like any higher. Lightning Storm is a great option, but not necessarily a card that you should be forced to play. Ash is definitely a must play. I mean, it's a really good card going first because you can stop the chummies, and going second you can stop infinite things. Like, you're gonna be always super happy about the fact that you have Ash in your deck. Typhoon is a card worth exploring. It's not bad against Blue Eyes, and it's not bad against Fire King-ish. Not really. No, yeah, not really. Sometimes, I don't know. They don't really play Snake Eye cards in the Bellstar to like pitch the Sanctuary, so you usually won't be able to destroy the island. So that kind of sucks. Evenly Matched is anywhere between like at the very bottom of great option and the top of worth exploring. It depends on what deck you're playing, but honestly, I think I'm just still gonna put it here because it could be devastating against your opponent, and if you play the right cards to work in tandem with Evenly Matched, it can be really good. But if you play a lot of hand traps with this card, it's really garbage because this card is ass against half boards, unlike Change of Heart. Like, if you hand trap your opponent twice and then your opponent ends on like Caesar Pass and like Paradise Engrave, Lacrima Engrave, Requiem Engrave, your one of Evenly is doing nothing at all, and you're still looking at 3 interruptions, which is really concerning. Okay, this is what again? Soul Exchange something? Depends on the deck that you're playing, obviously. If you're playing like Flunderies, it's good, but against everything else, it's garbage. This is probably the top of great option, and it's interesting that you don't have to play it necessarily just because there's not that many back row running around, but usually you can argue that you're not even trying to side this only for the back row decks, but against everyone and their mother going second, because everyone realistically needs back row. Like, Raziel is gonna have the field spell, they're gonna have whatever, like Imperms, potentially, just all the kinds of trap cards that you can just take care with Duster, and it's always nice. The same argument with Lightning Storm. It's just that this card doesn't conflict with Bestials or Nibiru, so it's more generic. And this card, unfortunately, it does have some clash, and also, like, you can't, I don't know. Yeah, this card has more limits than this, even though, like, you can also destroy attack position monsters. Everybody is gonna try to play around that at the best of their capabilities. But yeah, Forbidden Chalice, it's just worse than Book of Moon overall. Miradora is garbage, actually at the very bottom of this. Literally zero potential. This card is ass. Forbidden Droplet is completely cracked. So freaking good. I love this card so much. Honestly, if you want to play board breakers, then this card is a must play. And if you don't want to, then it is what it is. It's just a great option, but overall, it's such a good card. Triple Tactic Talent, same thing. But as a going second card, it's less good. I'm probably gonna have to downgrade it here-ish, just because it's more of a going first card, at least to my eyes. DD Crow is not good at all. I honestly don't really understand why people swear on this card so much. Curry Photon is like a going first card in like Fiendsmith decks to beat, or rather to not get OTK'd by Tenpai, which is a lot of mental gymnastics just to justify like a one-of that is only good against like one matchup. No thank you. Just no thank you. Blink Out is, the last time I saw this card was in the Ragnaraka 60 card deck, and nobody really plays it anymore, and it was just like a one-of, I think, so I don't know, it's probably there. It's not great. Nibiru, yeah, this one's also really good. It's especially in combination with other hand shops, and if you play a lot of Bestials in your deck like Baldrake, this card's even better, so that's nice. The spell card Monster Reborn, it's actually not bad at all, and this one's more generic, but I have seen this card be played in a couple of decks. If anything, it might be worth exploring as an actual board breaker against turning decks like the Malice deck. They try to go GWC, you chain your Viback their White Binder, and then you can't use their effect, the effect of the White Binder, but you can still link it off with like an Access Code or whatever. Try to break the board. It's honestly kind of cool. I do like the card. I do think it has a lot of nice potential, so I'm just gonna upgrade it maybe here. But yeah, Dark World Puppetry, it's not a bad card, but you do have to play like a fiend-based strategy, so unfortunately it's a little meh. Mind Control is strictly worse than Change of Heart, but it's still a monster stealing card with a little bit of potential, so I'm gonna place it here. Book of Lunar Eclipse, a little better than Book of Moon going second, and also it's still decent going first, but you do have to have a discard, and it has to book exactly 2 monsters on the field. It's not up to 2 monsters, so that's my issue. So if your opponent ends on like Razor Detonator Pass, then Book of Lunar Eclipse is useless. Yastura Fenrir is a remarkable option, probably gonna have to be there, because it's universally good going first and second, it's good against the shifter decks, it's good against half boards. If anything, I think this card is overall better to pair in tandem with hand shops than like Change of Heart, Mind Control, etc. Because if you hand shop your opponent to death and you bricked, at the very least, if you have Fenrir, you can still play the game. Like, you can go Fenrir, search Fenrir, attack, banish, and that's already like 2 removals on the field because you ran over a monster, you banished another one face down, and then your opponent outs your Fenrir, and then your other Fenrir searches the final Fenrir, and then banishes the monster that outed the Fenrir, and then you just keep removing monsters with one single card. So if it's like a grind game and a super simplified game state, this is one of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I really don't feel like people understand this, but Fenrir is such an amazing card overall, huge fan of it. Artifact Lancia is the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, going second to have in your side deck. I remember the kind of like statistics from YCS Birmingham. 94% of the people were siding Artifact Lancia. This means that 6% of the players at YCS Birmingham were trying to give free wins to their opponents. And I really hope that I face these 6% players, because they are literally on another planet. I don't even know what to say. Bestials are super good, super good, especially right now with that Blue Eyes is a thing. But even before Blue Eyes, you know, Razor Fiendsmith, the Fiendsmith engine was played in everything. But now Blue Eyes also kind of plays into Bestials to some degree. Depends on what deck you're playing, how you're playing it, etc. But I think if you can play Bestials and a lot of other hand shops in your deck, you're going to have a nice advantage. And also the Bestials are a little reminiscent of Kishtra Fenrir in the sense where you hurt your opponent and also you help yourself out in the process, because you get a monster on the field and that monster keeps doing more things. Like Magnamud gets you another monster, and then, you know, the Jew's Worm can clear a monster, Baldrake can have an effect on the field, etc. So that's really awesome. Retelling Sea is worth exploring eventually, but it doesn't have a lot of application, so I think at the current moment it's not great, because the top 3 decks don't lose to this card, like whatsoever. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Snatch Steal is worse than all of these cards. Actually, it's the worst monster stealing card, because Razor Detonator just destroys it, so I really don't like it. Super Poly is definitely worth exploring, and I will make a video on this card when I can. I really think that this card has a lot of untapped potential, and it's just going to keep getting better and better over time because we're going to have more Super Poly targets. So I think I'm actually going to upgrade it here. And also, nobody is playing around this card at all. Absolutely nobody, because they're not expecting it, because in their mind, the Super Poly is not being played at all. Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill is garbage, like actual trash. So it's at the very bottom of here, but it's still, you know, technically like another Veiler, so whatever. Triple Tactic Thrust, it's a good card going second. Actually, you can argue that it's a great card going second. If your deck plays Board Breakers, this is one of them that you should be playing, definitely. And you can argue that Talent is always going to be a one-of if you play Thrust, so if anything, I am willing to accept the fact that Thrust should be upgraded, Talent should be upgraded, but maybe Thrust, I'm just gonna keep it as a great option. I don't know, maybe, this is not really relevant. Honestly, if you start arguing like, oh, but Yak Sign, this makes no sense, I completely disagree, shut up, you're dumb. It doesn't matter, who cares, just, whatever. Anything that makes you happy, I'm gonna do it. There you go, Merry Christmas. Okay, Dark Hole, garbage, because nobody's giving you, like, the Ibli Locks or Regeki is always better, because if you Dark Hole, maybe you're gonna destroy your own Nibiru or your own Bestial like a moron, and that's not really good unless you play, like, Ashtra Fenrir in your deck, or Unicorn or something. You know, actually, low-key, if you draw Fenrir and Dark Hole going first, this is actually full combo in Crystron. Yes, you go Fenrir, search Unicorn, Unicorn, search Birth, Birth, revive back Fenrir. Well, I mean, you know, yeah, after you Dark Hole yourself on the Fenrir, and then it's Draco Sack, and then you play from there. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, Murmur of the Forest, a lot of potential. Is better than Book of Moon going second, but way worse going first, so that's a little problematic. Cyframe Gear Gamma would have been broken if you didn't have to play Driver, but it forces you to play Delta and stuff, so actually it's still worth exploring. It's definitely not bad. Absolutely not bad. Book of Eclipse is for sure a great option. Probably here. Great board breaker against Blue Eyes, against Razor Fiendsmith. It's bad against Malice going second, but going first, I mean, it's not bad. It's just that you give your opponent a lot of draws, unless your opponent randomly just draws a hand that loses to, like, you know, Book of Eclipse on normal summon Dormouse. And, you know, yeah, sure, you're giving your opponent one draw, but you're also denying your opponent of, like, a plus 11. So think about it this way. If you have to give your opponent one draw going first, Book of Eclipse is always fine. So I think this card can even be main decked. I think it's just an overall great card. And going second, fantastic card. So yeah, this one, I might even want to upgrade it, honestly. Really, really good. Ghost Sister, it's a time card, so I don't want to talk about it. Dominus Impulse. Ooh, this is kind of a must-play if your deck can play it. If your deck can play it. So that's the caveat, but sometimes you don't necessarily want to play it. It depends, but I think it's still really good. Okay, Mochimi Furos, no shit. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You're definitely trying to play this card like 100%. Otherwise, you're gonna start losing to everything. It's arguably even better than Ash and Imperm and stuff like that. Even though it's less generic and it can be a brick going first, at the very least, it's a high seal. I mean, it's a high impact card when it resolves. Whereas these cards, they're generic and they're safe and they're good, but they're not like broken. Whereas this is broken and this is broken. Like these can be turn skips, whereas these are rarely turn skips. They're turn skips when your opponent's hand is mid. So yeah, Kurikara, this one just meh is the best word to describe this card. Burial from a different dimension, worth exploring if you're on board breakers. Against Malice, it's really good. Yeah, they go like White Binder, banish a bunch of cards, and then you go Burial, banish, like shuffle back all of them back into your deck so you summon nothing. So that's really cool. Dark Ruler No More, another good option. Probably one of the worst board breakers, but still good. Actually, maybe here, huh? Or here? Maybe? I don't know. It's less generic though. I'm not really picky. It could also be like higher here. Gamma Steel, or sorry, Kaijus in general. Better than Sphere Mode, still garbage. No Material, garbage. Clashing Souls, super situational. Ghost Ogre, fantastic card, great option. Probably one of the best hand traps that you aren't forced to play. Like if you're playing Ogre, it's because you want to play Ogre, not because you have to play Ogre. Whereas these hand traps, for example, I feel like you have to play them. And also Nibiru and Bestials if you can't play them. Ogre, just like, yeah, sure, it's really good against Blue Eyes because, you know, you hit True Light. If they don't play around, it also destroys their own board. And then it's fine against Razor Fiendsmith. Like, I mean, you can Ogre the Duo Drive against Malice. You can Ogre the Hagrid Lizardos. It also has, like, nice applications against, like, rogue decks in general. So it's a cool card. But, yeah, I don't know. It's not a perfect card, unfortunately. Contact C, yeah, garbage. Ghost Reaper, huge potential on this card. You can hit Fiendsmith Requiem, and then the Fiendsmith engine is useless. And even against Razor Fiendsmith, this is relevant. You can hit Razor Detonator, you can hit the Duo Drive, you can hit the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon or the Blue Eyes Link 1 against Blue Eyes. Against Malice, you can hit the White Binder, This card is really similar to Metal Chonis in the sense where you need to play the extra deck card that corresponds to the card that you're trying to counter. So you get rewarded for doing so, which means that if your deck has a very loose extra deck, then it's really good for you, and you can definitely take advantage of that. And just like Metal Chonis, this card gets exponentially better in mirror matches because you already have the same extra deck as your opponent, so if you're going second, you can start replaying the card that bothers you the most, depending on the context. So I think this is like a more proactive, or rather, I guess, reactive version of Metal Chonis, and it doesn't get your stuff going, like it doesn't summon a monster that can keep doing more things. So I think it's like less good than Metal Chonis, but not... It's still a good card. It's still a card that I think you should not look past. You know, if you can test with this card a little bit, then it would be great. Sky Striker cards are really good, but they're not perfect. Probably gonna have to be here. You know, Widow Anchor is still kind of like a change of heart, and Engage is Pot of Greed, so we will absolutely take that any day of the week. Metal Chonis, oh my god. Oh my god, is this card good? Oh, this card is so good that I actually want to place it here, or here. Honestly, it's very interchangeable, just because I still think that the hand traps overall are a little better, but sometimes you can argue that since you're committing to like a board breaker approach, or like an approach where your 6th card is always good, Metal Chonis can be one of the better cards, because this card, the way it breaks your opponent's board, oh, chef's kiss, it's gorgeous. And also, just like Reaper, it is broken in mirror matches. And unlike Reaper, it's good going first and second. Reaper is only good going second because with Reaper, your opponent has to control more monsters than you do for you to be able to use this card. We're not done yet, of course. We still have Skullmeister, but this one's not really good. Zuking Alpha, dogshit. Psyframe Delta, obviously same positioning as Gamma, just another card that is like, alright, sure, if you want to play it, then as long as you justify it with good arguments, I have no objection. I think this engine is, or rather this package, is okay. It's not great, it's not garbage. Ghost Bell, I kind of changed my mind on this card. I think it's like a little better. I think it just got a little better too. It has some okay applications against pretty much every deck out there, but it's never like a great card. But it can be a great card against Malice, and especially when you already play a lot of other hand traps, this can be one of the cards that just fills in the gap, you know? Like you already have like 20 hand traps and you need more hand traps. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. But when you're playing Ghost Bell, it means that your deck is playing so many hand traps that you can afford the luxury of looking at cards like Ghost Bell, because I can think of so many hand traps that are overall better worth to main decking. So yeah, this is not really your first priority, but that doesn't make it bad whatsoever. If anything, it's probably just going to be here, because unlike Ghost Reaper, you don't need like specific cards to make it work. But I do believe that Ghost Reaper has a higher impact on the game than Ghost Bell. Anyways, like Season Core, a cool card if your deck loses to like Abyss Dweller and stuff like that, so it's probably gonna have to be here. It's not super generic, and it's not like a perfect card, but still, it's really nice in like Mermail and Crystron. But yeah, anyways, Phantasme, it's a good card for sure. And yeah, if you're playing like a board breaker approach, then Phantasme can start drawing to like the nasty board breakers, and then your opponent's board is completely destroyed. Yeah, this card is, it has the potential of being like really broken. And honestly, it has like almost no bad matchups. Like Pure Razor is one of them, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So you can't always side this card in against everyone going second. Sometimes it's going to be a dead card in your side deck, and yeah, it is what it is. Dino Wrestler Pancratops, this card doesn't really trade well enough, so unfortunately, I think it's like maybe on the same level as cards like Mind Control and stuff like that. Maybe Change of Heart should be like down here. I don't know. Doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, also this should kind of get downgraded. Yeah, I don't know. Again, that doesn't matter too much. Molchimi Perulia, great option if you can play it. It's worse than Furos, but it's still really good, and it's good against a bunch of decks where Furos is not really good against. Like, for example, Memento and... Yeah, Memento and Memento, huh? Oh no, yeah, Kashtira decks and stuff like that. Yeah, actually, this card's really good. I like it. And Fire King, actually, loses harder to Perulia than loses to Fire King. Sorry, to Furos. Molchimi Nialis, this is going to be your best friend against a lot of decks. Yeah, this is kind of a must-play, honestly. I think you need Nialis more than you need Nibiru sometimes, or maybe it's interchangeable. Yeah, maybe. Something C, same thing as his stupid brother. Garbage, Dimension Shifter, if you can play it, you gotta play it. Like, you literally have to play it if you can play it. Like, if you're playing Malice and you're not siding this card at the very least, you are doing something wrong. You're seriously doing something wrong, but I still think Lancia is kind of like more of a must. Herald of the Abyss is like an okay-ish card, but I don't really like okay-ish cards, honestly. I don't really think there's like a reason to look at them at the current moment, just because this format is so degenerate that you're trying to look at degenerate cards in order to kind of compensate, you know? Dueling Logbird, another really good one. I don't really care about the positioning at this point, but it's really good against Mitsurugi Raziel. It's really good against Mermail. This card will save your butt very often. And then Dominus Purge. Okay, this one's really interesting because if you can play it, you probably are playing it. Like, obviously, I'm looking at Fiendsmith players and Blue Eyes players right here. This card is not, like, super generic, but the decks that can play it will have some form of advantage. It's pretty comparable to, like, Ash. It's a really good card overall, but it locks you under, like, certain kinds of attributes, which means that you can't start playing this card with, like, a Bestial package, because then you can't use, like, your Magnamo, Jewsworm, and Baldric effect anymore. You can still use Lubellion, but who cares? You're searching a monster that does nothing. So, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate with Dominus Purge. Whereas Dominus Impulse, the decks that can play it, like Mermail and Malice, they're usually like dark or water locked anyways, and also Fire King fire locked. You're not really summoning any other kinds of monsters anyways, so I think that's kind of my problem with Dominus Purge. I think it's less good than Dominus Impulse, but it can be argued that Dominus Purge sometimes is better because at the very least against Raziel, you negate their Duo Drive and then you can also pair it up with Nibiru, whereas like Dominus Impulse and Nibiru, it's like less good. Unless you can Impulse like an Ice Raziel, that's actually not too bad. Anyways, Anti-Magic Arrows is not good. Effect Veiler is fine. It's not a must-play, but it's still a good card. Maybe gonna have to be here-ish. Yeah, I don't know. And then, Vesper Gearsu. It's another meh card, honestly. Actually, if anything, it's probably, like, down here. Chaos Hunter, really good one. I'm actually a huge fan. Probably one of the best cards that you aren't forced to play. Like, I mean, even like Dominus Purge, to be completely honest with you, but I think Chaos Hunter is actually a little better. Yeah, so, and also this card is more generic, and it's really nice against Malice, but the only issue with this card, and the reason why it's not as good as Lancia and Nialis, is that this card can get outed by Nightmare Cerberus and, you know, Widow Anchor and stuff like that the Malice deck could be playing, so that is a little problematic. And also they can go triple Tactic Talent Steel, and then link off with the Chaos Hunter. Enemy controller, yeah, okay, it's fine. Probably here, I don't know. Yeah, it's a little better than Change of Heart and Mind Control because you can also dodge like Veiler Imperm, but you also tribute a monster in the process. But at the very least, this card is main deckable. It's good going first. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is garbage because you need to play Kaiju monsters in your deck, which is ass. Lava Golem, worse than Kaiju's, better than Sphere Mode? Nah, actually it's better than both, huh? And then finally Ultimate Slayer, which is probably in the must-play section if you have the extra deck space for it. Hold on a second, where's Metaltronus? Oh yeah, there. Oh, actually, I think I'm satisfied with this. Yeah, this is interchangeable. Metaltronus, Ultimate Slayer, and Droplet. They're all really good board breakers, and potentially the best ones going second out here in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. But yeah, that's it for this compilation of the best 77 cards that you can play going second in Yu-Gi-Oh! This is insane. 77 freaking cards. Ridiculous. Yeah. And I think I managed to do it relatively fast in like 22-ish minutes. So yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about this video and also the best board breakers and hand shops in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.